Mhm.
Hello and welcome to this second exploring session on Fulgens and Lucrece, written by Henry Medwall sometime in the 1490s-ish sort of area, probably for some kind of lovely festive performance or some kind of exciting household event for John Morton, Archbishop of Canterbury. And it is part of a bit of a banquet's probably going on. There's food. We know there's food. They said there was food at the beginning. Everyone's eaten well, and these entertainments occur. It comes in two parts, does Fulgens and Lucrece. We are coming towards the end of part one before we may cross the Rubicon into part two by the end of this session. Then we'll be pausing before we return to the play tomorrow. It is possible that the both parts were performed on the same day with maybe a bit of an interval for more food, or it's possible that they were performed days apart, and we'll just sort of test that proposition to a degree over this and the next session. We are continuing with the text. There's only three of us. The play has a cast of seven, technically. It may have some doubling in it. But I suspect for its original performance it didn't. But we are doubling it down with us three today. So this won't take me long to read out the parts for everybody else. So reading A is...
Hi, I'm Greg and I'm from Stratford-on-Avon.
And reading B is...
Hi, I'm Eric, and I'm still here. I'm curious to see what's going to happen.
You wouldn't think this play is from the 1490s, would you? You think you need to say you're playing A or you're playing B is saying theatre from the absurd from the 1960s, doesn't it?
Or 1560s.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I, however, am playing Ancilla, Gaius, and Cornelius to be the other interlocutors. A and B are basically servants. They're servants. In the room at the beginning, it's all very meta. They basically inveigle their way into the play. And they have inveigled their services into various characters as servants to characters. And they are disrupting the action in weird and interesting ways. So without further ado, we're going to be leaping in. We're going to go back a few lines. What A and B are doing at the moment is they're doing some bawdy sort of talk. And I think... we'll go from B, no, we'll go from A. I will go from A. I shrew thy face by St. Mary. So it's a little chunkier to before. It's all a bit bawdy. This is spoofing to a degree the main love plot, wooing two people trying to woo one person. So it's a little rude, perhaps in places, and not very politically correct. But it is the 1490s. What can you expect? I'm now feeling a bit awkward. The fact that this is a room of three men. So never mind. I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I will be Ancilla, Gaius, and Cornelius, and these chaps will be A and B. A and B begin.
I shrew thy face by St. Mary. With thy chattering thou dost me tarry even for the same purpose.
I say, when thou hast with Lucrece spoken, I pray thee, wilt thou deliver me a token in my name to her maid?
Nay, ye must beware that gear, for I have been afore you there.
Why hast thou her assayed?
Oh, yea, that matter is sped full. I may have her, and she will. That comfort she me gave.
And hast thou none other comfort at all? I trust to God then that I shall all this matter save. Howbeit I will not the matter begin without I were sure she were a virgin.
Oh, by my troth, this comfort shall I put thee in. I came never on her back in the way of sin.
And at which comment A leaves the place, leaving B behind.
Then all is well and fine, if the matter be in that case. I trust that within a little space that wench will be mine. I tell you, it is a trull of trust, all to quench a man's thrust, better than any wine. It is a little pretty musette, and her voice is as doucet, and as pretty as sweet as resty pork. Her face is somewhat brown and yellow, but for all that she hath no fellow in singing her hens to York. But the worst that grieveth me, she hath no leisure nor liberty for an hour or twain to be out of her master's sight. I watched for her this other night, but all was in vain. Howbeit, I think that at the last
And here comes in the maiden.
I shall come in within 2 stones cast of her. I ask no more, and if I do so, then my mate shall have no lust therein to prate as he did before. Cock's body, there she is. Now welcome by heaven bliss, the last that was in my thought.
Tush, I pray you, let me go. I have somewhat else to do. For this hour I have sought a man that I should speak withal from my mistress.
What do you him call?
Master Gaius, or his man.
Am I not he that you would have?
No, I would have another knave.
Why am I a knave then?
Nay, I said not so, pardie, but where trow ye these folks be?
I cannot verily say. His man went even now from me, and I marvel greatly that ye met him not by the way, for he is gone to speak with Lucrece from his master.
What, with my mistress? Nay!
Yea, so I heard him say.
God's mercy, and I was sent even thither for the same intent to bring an answer of the errand that he is gone for. Wherefore now there is no more, but I must go seek him there.
Nay, tarry here a little while, gentle Joan, for he will come hither anon.
Tarry? Why should I so?
Marry, to laugh and talk with me.
Nay, look where such giglets be, for I am none of them, I warn thee, that use so to do.
I mean nothing but good and honest, and for your weal, and you list to assent thereunto.
For my weal, quoda? How may that be? That is a thing that I cannot see.
Marry, this low is my intent. I mean, if you would be content, or anywise agree, for my sacrament of penance, by God, give it a very vengeance of wedlock, I would have said.
Tush, by St. James, you do but mock to speak to me of any wedlock, and I am so young a maid.
Why are ye a maid?
Yea, else I were to blame.
Where, by what ye?
Marry, for I am.
That is the thing. Hear ye not, sirs, what she saith? So reasonable a cause thereto she layeth.
A straw for your mocking. Have ye none to mock but me?
Mock, no, nay, so mote I thee. I mean even good earnest. Give me your hand, and you shall see what I will promise you.
That way were not best for my prow. Would ye hand fast me forthwithal? Nay, by the rood, first ye shall cheap or ever you buy. We must first of the price agree. For whosoever shall have me, I promise you faithfully, he shall me first assure of £20 land in jointure.
Why are ye so costly? Nay, then ye be not for me, as pretty a woman as ye may be. I can sometime buy for much less wages and hire as for the season that I desire to have her in company. Therefore, if ye can find in your heart to leave all such jointer apart, and take me as I am, I shall do you as great a pleasure, and thereto I will love you out of measure, else I were to blame.
Yea, but our household shall be full small, but if we have somewhat else withal, our charges for to bear.
Yea, God send us merry weather. I may not wed and thrive altogether. I look not for that gear. I shall tell you a marvellous case. I knew twain married in a place, dwelling together in one house, and I am sure they were not worth a louse at the beginning. And ere ever the year were due, they were worth 100 or two.
Well, that was a marvellous thing. But yet I can tell thee a greater marvel, and I knew the persons right well. Sir, I knew two certain. That when they were wedded, they had in store scarce half a bed, and no more, that was worth an whore, and within a year or twain they had so great increase and gain, that at the last they were fain to shove their heads in the straw.
Tush, ye do but mock and rail, and I promise you without and fail, if ye list to have me, I wot where is £100 in store, and I owe never a groat therefore.
All that may be, I believe it even as ye say, but ye tarry me here all day. I pray you, let me go. And for my marriage, that is a thing in the which I purpose to give a sparing for a year or two.
A year or two, quod eh? Nay, God forbid. I wish it had be time for you to wed 7 or 8 year ago. And you wist how merry a life it is to be a wedded wife. You would change that mind.
Yea, so it is, as I understand, if a woman have a good husband, but that is hard to find. Many a man blameth his wife, pardie, and she is more to blame than he.
As true as the gospel, now say ye. But now tell me one thing. Shall I have none other answer but this of my desire?
No, Sir Iwis, not at this meeting.
Will you now be a go then? Take your leave honestly.
See, the man, let me alone with sorrow.
Marry, so be it. But one word, I will kiss thee ere thou go.
The devil's turd, the man is mad, I trow.
So mad am I that needs I must, as in this point, have my lust, howsoever I do.
Pardie, ye may do me that request, for why it is but good and honest. I will just briefly pause there. And yes, we kiss. Pucker up. So, yeah.
I think I brushed my teeth.
Yeah, it's there was a bit of a line confusion at one point where something went a bit awry, but it's not your fault. It's a textual thing. I will check up on around about when you go to kiss me and I push you away before you we actually do. As a enters in a moment. Always nice to have the devil's turd. It's always good to see. So you know, it's playful. I think it's fair. I mean, I was playing it possibly a lot more aggressive than perhaps she is, because it's you know, they do have a little kiss. It seems to be consensual. It's not like it's not like you're just randomly having a go. There seems to be some sort of prior relationship on some degree, as has been semi-discussed in the text earlier. How is that for you, Greg?
For the little bit I've had so far, fabulous. Yeah, I'm curious to see the rest of A at the moment. Just because a line that pringed out at me and made me interested. What the heck were the singing hens in York?
Singing hens in York.
Yeah,
it's a general. I don't know whether it is a specific thing or not. I'm going to have a quick look through my notes to see if there's anything specific that's referencing. I mean, it's just in. You know, it could be York Minster, I suppose, couldn't it?
Also, as a textual thing, you got master instead of mistress a couple of times, which is that wrong all the way through, or is that just those couple of times?
Robert, if I was saying mistress and it's written down as master, then it's probably wrong in the textual reading.
That's just being.
It could be. You could be right. There are various textual things. The text you've got was done in something of a rush. So you will already have noticed that there's several "thes" which are these and etc. So there's various elements like that. Yeah, it's sort of flowing. It's flowing very just as well as it was the other day. I have to say, it seems to be going quite nicely. A's about to come back in again. We had a turn of phrase which we've had before. I say before, we have later in a Robin Hood play. We've done on the podcast Trull of Trust.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a wench of who will do the fun things. I think is what he is intimating there. In Singing Hens to York, I don't seem to have a note on Singing Hens to York, but I'm going to keep looking. There may be other footnotes I can find. Any additional thoughts? You know, in terms of B's chat up lines. I mean, it's pretty. He sort of halters for a bit and then just says, "Marry me," He's not actually very good at this.
But also, it was just the way he described her. Like, her face is brown and yellow, and then just pretty enough for me.
Well, I mean, with that, she's a serving wench. It's the kind of figure. So maybe that's Greece. Maybe that's just from working outside part of the time. I don't know whether I'm trying not to engage too much in the light misogyny that may exist within the text by continuing that thought. Now, I still have found no specific note on the singing, but I will keep looking. I have more books to look in. So we reach bit of a snog moment. Isn't that exciting? And as that happens, A enters. So B and I should be doing some. I don't know how much. I don't know if there's tongues. I don't know what kind of kiss this is. However, that's what you see, when you enter now.
Now, a fellowship, I thee beseech, set even such a patch on my breech.
A wildfire thereon.
Oh, God's mercy, this is he that I have sought so.
Ooh, have ye sought me?
Yea, that have I do. This gentleman can witness bear that all this hour I have stand here seeking even for you.
Have ye two together been so long?
Yea, why not?
Marry, then all is wrong, I fear me so now.
Nay, here be too many witness for to make any such business as thou weenest heartily.
Why, what is the man's thought? Suppose ye that I would be naught if no man were by?
Nay, for God, you meant not so. I meant not so, but I would no man should have to do with you, but only I.
Have to do, quoda? What call ye that? It sounded to a thing I won't now what.
God's mercy, I see well a man must beware how he speaketh there as ye are. You take it so strangely. Nay, I mean nothing but well, for by my will no man shall deal with you in way of marriage, but only I, this wise I mean.
Oh, yea, but though it were your intent, yet ye do but rage to use such words unto me, for I am yet at my liberty.
Yea, that I know well, but nevertheless, sithen I began to love you long before this man, I have very great marvel that ever ye would his mind fulfill to stand and talk with him still, so long as ye have done.
Before me, quote, nay, I make a vow, I moved this matter long before you. How say ye thereto?
I will nothing in the matter say, lest I cause you to make a fray, for thereof I would be loath.
Oh, by cock's body, but whosoever it be that weddeth her besides me, I shall make him wroth.
Ye, but he that is so hasty at every word, for medicine must eat his wife's turd.
Hold your tongues, there I say. For an ye make this work for me, ye shall both disappointed be as far as I may.
By my troth, but mark me well, if ever thou with this man dwell, as a woman with him make, thou shalt find him the most froward man that ever thou sawest sith the world began. For I dare undertake that 40 times on a day, without any cause, he will thee affray and beat thee back and sides.
He shall not need so to do, for he shall have 40 causes, and 42 if I with him abide.
Marry, that is a remedy according, but I can tell thee another thing, and it is no lie, thou mayest well be his wedded wife, but he will never love thee in his life.
Yet I know a remedy.
How so?
Marry, I will love him as little again. For every shrewd turn he shall have twain, and he were my brother.
I was shown he speaketh of malice. There is no man hence to Calais, whosoever be the t'other, that can himself better apply to please a woman better than I.
Yea, so I heard you say. But yet be ye never so wroth, there is never one of you both, for all your words gay, that shall be assured of me, till I may first hear and see what ye both can do. And he that can do most mastery, be it in cookery or in pastry, in feats of war or deeds of chivalry, with him will I go.
By my troth, that liketh me well. There is no mastery that a man can tell, but I am meet thereto. Wherefore that wager I dare well undertake. Let me see. Will that go quite for thy lady's sake, or what thing shall we do?
Nay, if thou wilt her with mastery win with boys game, thou mayst not begin. That is not her intent.
What is best that we do then?
Marry, canst thou sing?
Yea, that I can, as ever was any man in Kent.
What manner of song shall it be?
Whatsoever thou wilt choose thee, I hold me well content. And if I meet thee not at the close, hardly let me the wager lose by her own judgment. Go to now, will ye set in?
Nay, be the road, ye shall begin.
St. James, I assent. By Joan, ye can good skill, and if ye would the song fulfill with a third part, it would do right well in my mind.
Sing on hardily, and I will not be behind, I pray thee, with all my heart. So, in a three-part harmony, they will sing beautifully. We're not going to do that. We're going to pause very briefly. Yes, it's coming along again quite nicely. There's the sort of building up of the contest is getting more open now, and we're getting, how do we resolve this conflict? Well, I'd quite like you to, feats of war or deeds of chivalry, and you're going, well, we could do some singing. You're not going to do war. You have no interest in war. That's not what you're about.
It's not fun.
And
I kind of imagine it being like that kind of everything you can do, I can do better, but like in the 16th century, well, 15th century.
Yeah, it's I think that's perfectly reasonable way of putting it. It's a contest. It's a contest, and we have other contests in later plays. We get this in The Four Ps by John Hayward, which is available on the podcast. And listen now, where they do some singing randomly, but they then do a contest of lying to see who can lie the best, and that has an unfortunate ending, which we'll just quietly walk away from. But some quite good stories, and it has a certain quality that's quite similar to this in tone of this little silliness. I'm still finding nothing on the hence to York. Right, yeah. Basically, it's we have hence to lots of places, so it seems to be a generic thing that somewhere else. So hence to York, singing in York. Yeah, it doesn't have to. It's probably just to make the rhyme work. So that's the why. That's the why. You asked the question, and the answer was terribly disappointing.
I thought there was some brothel in York with the three hens or something. I was getting so excited.
I wouldn't put it past the author. We have had various. It's an interesting thing about the nature of the banter, shall we say, between Ancilla and B earlier, when he's talking about, I could hire someone for pleasure, out of my own cost. I want a wife. I want a wife. And sort of equating her with, but also not, and it's sort of a little bit awkward and uncomfortable and weird. So yeah, all sorts of connections with inappropriate places for young gallants to be, or young servants, or in fact anyone. Okay, so we have reached the singing contest. I'm going to suggest that you sing so long that it goes badly for you. So maybe a few discreet coughs, B, before you begin.
I am so hoarse it will not be.
Horse, quotha? Nay, Sir Mot I thee, that was not the thing, and a man should the truth say. Ye lost a crotchet or two by the way, to mine understanding.
Why was I minim before?
Ye be the road that ye be the rude that ye were more. Sorry, ye be the rude that ye were and more.
Then ye were a minim behind. Let me see yet sing again, and Mark will show us twain. Pleaseth best your mind.
And sorry,
Nay, I think.
Nay, I apologise. Nay, ye shall this matter try by some other manner of mastery than by your singing.
Let him essay what mastery he will.
Marry, and my belly were not so. Marry, and my belly were not so full, I would wrestle with him a fair pull. That were a game according for such valiant men as we be.
I shrew thine heart, and thou spare me.
And now we have a wrestling contest, so can we have some grunting, please? Lovely, lovely. Always nice to have a bit of wrestling. So A gets thrown, so B wins. Oh, nay, by my faith, that was no fall.
Then I see, well, ye be partial when ye judge so. Well, I shall do more for your love. Even here I cost to him my glove, ever I hence go. On the condition that in the plain field I shall meet him with spear and shield, my life thereon to jeopardy. Let me see, and he dare take it.
And he shall throw down a glove.
I don't have one.
Yea, hardily, I will not forsake it. I am not such a coward, but I dare meet but I dare meet thee at all assays. When shall it to be due?
Even straightways, without further delay, and I shrew his heart that fears with either with cronal or sharp spears that this bargain to essay.
I beshrew him for me, but abide. Now let me see, where shall I have a horse?
Nay, we shall need no horse ni mule, but let us joust at fart, prick, and cool.
By St. James, no force, even so be it. But where is our gear?
By my faith, all thing is ready that belongeth thereto. Come forth, ye flower of the frying pan. Help ye to array us as well as ye can. And howsoever ye do, see that ye judge indifferently which of us twain hath the mastery.
I think we should just briefly pause to just go back,
I
just
misread
a moment,
that, but yeah.
to let us joust at fart, prick, in cool. Fart, prick in the arse is how that's been passed here. So it's a sort of you're not jousting with horses. You're sort of jousting in a sort of weird jousty arse sticky out position. I think that's the suggestion here. So it's not quite coconuts, Holy Grail, but it could be close. You've got the note I've got here is that there's a pole between their legs as spears. I'm going to look for another thing as to precisely how silly this joust is going, because I don't quite see that the text is saying quite enough of this to agree with that. But I'm willing. So yeah, you're about to do a very silly thing, as it were. To fight for my love, and you know, I commend you for trying. I obviously want you to fight for me. That's something that's going on there. So yes, so I'm just looking for. Any additional thing? I don't think we've quite got to the. Yes, there's some. I think there's some more additional directions coming from the dialogue, which will give us a few more clues as to how this all goes. I am, of course, the flower of the frying pan.
I
Glorious.
didn't realize that was a compliment, and I was like, okay, yeah, I thought that was
Yeah.
A part Rob was born to play.
Absolutely. I fry with such aplomb. Anyway, let's continue. Let's continue hunting for more evidence as to what's actually going on. So, go back to "Come forth, ye flower of the frying pan" again. I like compliments.
Come forth, ye flower of the frying pan, help us ye to array as best ye can, and howsoever ye do, see that ye judge indifferently, which of us twain hath the mastery.
Yes, heartily that I shall. I shall judge after my mind. But see ye hold fast behind, lest ye trouble us all in all.
Hush, that is the left care of 15, and if I do not, on my game it be seen. Go to, bind me first heartily, and so low, now give me my spear, and put me a staff throw here. Then I am all ready.
Abide. Who shall help to harness me?
That shall I do, so mote I thee, with a right good will.
Soft and fair. Mine arm is sore, ye may not bind me straight therefore.
Nay, no more I will not hurt thee for £20. Bindy. I'm not sure how the binding's working, but whatever armor that you're getting, or however these poles are being arranged for your joust. It's all very, very interesting, the potential here. Come off now, sir. Come off now. Sit down on the ground till even upon my tail.
Hey, good Lord, when will ye have do?
Now all is ready. Hardily, go to. Bid him bail.
Fall to prayer, sirs. It is need as many of you as would me Godspeed, for this gear standeth me upon.
Yea, and that thou shalt find ere we depart, and if thou spare me, I shrew thy heart. Let me see, come on.
And battle is joined. It's interesting. You're calling on the audience there to cheer for you, isn't it? It's nice. You know, come on my side. Come on you lot. You can do it. You know, like the professional sportsman that you are in this thing. So yeah, it's I'm the thoughts from the room while I try and look things up. Eric.
No, I was going to say Greg first, but I mean,
Go on,
it's his first night with this text. I was just going to say, I'm wondering if Ancilla is just like playing with them, like till they kind of, you know, knocking their heads together kind of thing, till they exhaust each other, but I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very much liking that. I'm very much liking that. Greg, thoughts?
I love the wordplay. It's fabulous. And I love. It feels like he is the preening peacock. Sort of going, you know, she's gonna love me anyway. Come on. It's always gonna be me. Doesn't matter what I do, and well, we'll see what happens. I'm not going to say much for a moment. But no, yeah. Still getting my head around some of the words because there's because it's earlier. It's just there's a couple of times where I've really tripped up. But
yeah, there are a few editorial things I need to still tidy up. So I found another footnote on the way this contest is supposed to be fought. So, a jocular and scatological contest in which opponents seated back to back jabbed at one another with sticks. So you get tied onto the chairs. So that's what all the tying business is about. And obviously I'm cutting off your circulation. Arms and legs are tied. Each player to knock down the other or over.
That sounds like fun in some weird, like, Eton type way, I guess.
Thankfully, we can't do it on Zoom.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely really not quite sure how you fight this game then.
No.
But
who wins either, really? But yeah.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really matter because obviously what we have now is the stage direction is that A falls at this point, so A loses again.
I do feel like we could get the audience involved with this.
Yeah, I definitely think they should be cheering each other on. There should be bets,
and maybe a couple of poor victims come up.
You want to play as well?
Well, no, not quite. I was thinking more. You could almost have the sort of a little getting them involved with dressing A or and B, or sort of having this fun of, I don't know, maybe almost like piggyback fighting.
Yeah.
Instead of the chair.
Yeah.
But yes, sorry.
There's no definite indicator that there is a chair. That's just one editor's opinion. I think basically the thing is nobody knows how this is fought.
I actually have visions also of them. If Ancilla had got any sort of, because she's been described as mistress, the frying pan. If she's got any culinary objects like spoons or anything else that we could fight. Yeah, exactly. We could fight with those or make lots of noise. You know what we're like. We're very quiet in this team.
Yeah, I think it needs to be raucous. It needs to be over the top. I think we maybe need to devise our own game within the logic of what's going on here and how it works.
See, I think it makes sense though, because if they're tied to chairs, then it means that she can just abandon them.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, she's obviously binding them in some fashion, so they don't have proper freedom of movement. And that's important for reasons we will discover in a moment. Anyway, let's just go to the end of this mini scenette because there isn't much more to go. So A falls over, and it's obviously I don't know if you're just pretending that it's a foul and you're hoping for a penalty, and you're just going to play up that injury. Oh no, it hurts so much, ref. Or whether this is genuine pain. I don't know. I don't know.
Out, alas, for pain! Let me have a priest ere I slay my sin to disclose.
And because he saith so, it is need, for he is not in clean life indeed. I feel it at my nose, foe. Now you're mine, lady.
Nay, yes, and so the foe is suggesting that he can he's smelling something, so it's more foe. So I don't know whether A's had an accident. We do have this turn of phrase about beating someone till they stink, and I just wonder whether there's a thing about people just defecating after terrible injuries. I genuinely don't know if that's a thing or not. It's just something really weird is going on here.
Maybe
so
it's just
a terrible
a pun.
fart.
Because he does say, for he's not clean in clean life. So like, as in like, maybe he's a sinner, so he's like, he smells of sin kind of, rather than, I don't know, maybe.
You've been dealing with that morality play business for too long.
Well, we spent all this afternoon and yesterday. So anyway.
Same author, different genre. Anyway, so go with the faux, smelly.
Faux. Now you're mine, lady.
Nay, never the more.
No, why so?
For I am taken up before.
Marry, I beshrew your heart, therefore. It should better content me that ye had taken up behind.
I think we can go with that's possibly an innuendo as well. We've already had a behind joke earlier. So maybe that's another one. We shall see. Sorry, give me that line again. I apologise. I keep commenting.
Marry, I beshrew your heart, therefore. It should better content me that ye had be taken up behind.
Nay, you understand not my mind in that point.
It may well be, but tell me how you meant then.
Marry, I am sure, to another man whose wife I intend to be.
Nay, I trow by cock's passion, ye will not mock us of that fashion. Ye may not, for very shame.
Shame or not, so shall it be. And because that for the love of me ye two have made this game, it shall not be done all in vain. For I will reward you both twain, and else I were to blame. Somewhat thereby ye needs must win, and thereby to every each of you I will spin a new pair of breeches. Take thee that for thy dole, and because he is black in the hole, he shall have as much. Oh, and stage direction, I beat the crap out of you.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're tied up and helpless, and at the point you're tied up and helpless, I point out I'm actually promised to somebody else.
Charming woman.
Be fair.
To be fair, you were asking for it, so I think it's a great fist pump moment, I have to say, when you're just this thing of you've got to remember somebody's about to come on in a moment. You're still tied up.
Right.
So the comic potential here keeps going. It's going very nicely, and the amount of business that's going around with this dialogue is really fun. So you've just had the living daylights beaten out of you. A and B get a chance to talk to each other briefly before Gaius enters in a moment.
Alas, what woman was this?
Is Lucrece's maid?
The devil it is! Oh, I pray God of vengeance take her. How sayest thou? Shall she be thy wife?
Nay, I had liever she had eaten my knife. I utterly forsake her.
How, sirs, who hath you arrayed you this?
False fees, master, Ewis, and all for your quarrel.
What? And this other man too?
Yea, ye would our hands unto the matter we shall tell.
Oh, yes, marry will I. Now tell on, who hath you these wrongs done?
Marry, that I shall. Cornelius, servants, which is your enemy, espied me going towards Lucrece's place, that I could bring the matter to pass. That gentlewoman, as your desire was, they laid a wait for me in the way, and so they left me in this array.
Yea, but who hast thou? Yea, but hast thou any deadly wound? That is the thing that feareth my mind.
For I was left for dead on the ground, and I have a great gash here behind, to the which there cometh such a wind that if you hold a candle thereto, it will blow it out. That it will do.
See to it betime by mine advice, lest the wound fester within.
Then I have need of a good surgeon, for it is so deep within the skin that ye may put your nose therein, even up to the beard, even up to the herd eyes. Here is a man that quit him as well for my defence as ever I see. He took such part that in the quarrel his arm was stricken off by the herd knee, and he slew them 2 or 3.
Be they slain? Nay, God forbid.
Yea, so help me God, I warrant them dead. Now be it I stand in great dread that if ever he come in their way, they will cut off his arm or his head, for so I heard them all 3 say.
Which they that was slain?
Yea, by this day. What needeth me therefore to lie? He heard it himself as well as I.
Well then, ye lie both two. But now tell me, what hast thou do as touching my commandment that I bade thee do to Lucrece? Spakest thou with her?
Oh, yea, sir, doubtless, and this is her intent. She commandeth her to you by the same token that with her father she hath spoken, according to your request. And so she willeth you to be of good cheer, desiring you this night to appear, or tomorrow at the furthest, and she will meet you here in this place to give you final answer in this case, whereto ye shall trust.
That is the thing that I desire. But said she so?
By this fire, I tell you, very just, insomuch that she bade me say and warn you that she should purvey for your own business, for then it shall be for then it shall determine it be whether Publius, Cornelius, or ye shall have the preeminence.
All that purpose liketh me well, but who shall be here more? Canst thou tell?
Oh, marry, here shall be Fulgens, and Publius Cornelius himself also, with divers other many mo, beside this honourable audience. Wherefore, if ye will your honour save, and your intent in this matter have, it is best that ye go hence for to study and call to mind such arguments as ye can best find, and make yourself all oppressed.
Thy counsel is good. Be it so, and even thereafter will I do, for I hold it best. So he exits, and B. Now we didn't read out B's exit line, but it's very much along the lines of, yeah, ask him, and he says, no, you're obviously both lying, and he just goes, right, I'm off, and disappears. We basically get a bit of plot info dump. We also get some plotting. For A is to a degree lying, your enemy, he's plotting against you. It's not quite really what's going on there. The two servants are trying to stir the pot a bit. And of course you've come up with this great lie that you've killed all these people. What, they're all dead? God, I can't have my servants killing people. That's awful.
And then they speak afterwards, it seems.
Yeah. You've got to think the lie through.
It's a miracle.
Sorry, because I wasn't here last night. Was what A was saying true about what he'd said with Lucrece?
Not really, or it's only semi-true. It's one of these things. The servants are deliberately trying to muddy the waters. So in the case of Gaius, he's the one she does like, isn't it?
Flaminius, the flamboyant. Or, well, not so flamboyant.
So is Cornelius the rich one?
Yes.
Yeah, so she actually likes this one, and he doesn't actually have anything to fear, but A is sowing seeds of doubt. There is still going to be a contest about who's more noble and that's going ahead, but actually Gaius is being just paranoid, and it's being paranoid because of what A is being saying to him. So this feeds into that by saying, "Oh, there were this army of your love rival sent men against me." And just go, no, he's not. He's just going to have a debate. It's literally all he's going to do. It's all very genteel. So it's false tension, for you. For him, rather.
I guess also it would be less honorable to say, yeah, we got beaten up by a woman in this case. I mean, sort of assuming Ancilla is kind of, very angry.
Saving face, I think, is also possibly part of it. But it's the fact that he's turning it into the narrative he thinks his master wants to hear.
I love A's comment about the wind blowing out the candle. His wind, blowing out the candle.
Yeah, it was such a bad hit that I've got this hole. It's just here, and wind comes out. I mean, it's a terrible wound. It's just.
Yes, I don't know how I managed to read that without completely freezing.
Yeah, some of these lines are genuinely really good. I mean, it's interesting. Some of them, again, it's this lack of familiarity. It's really easy to transpose words. Yeah. Really easy. Even though the wording and the phrasing is actually very important, and getting it right is important. but I've a few times got to the end of a sentence and gone, oh, that's how I should have said it, bugger. It's like if my husband hits me, I'll give him back twice as many, and I didn't actually understand what the line meant until after I'd said it, and I went, oh yeah, oh well, he'll get back with interest if my husband tries to beat me, etc. Obviously, we are not in favour of such actions. Just to make that absolutely clear, it is clear that no one messes with Ancilla. No one messes.
Absolutely.
So we have, I say, recap of the plot of basically next time there's going to be a debate. Everybody, just be ready for that. There's going to be a debate. It's going to be very exciting. Just to remind everyone, plot to come. But he's quite economical with that, even though it's just an info dump. Does that quite well.
This is a complete contrast, though, to the other play that had no battle. Like, it was building up to a battle, and then there was no battle.
There will be a debate, trust me. There will be no lack of speechifying in the second half. These things.
I've seen one of A's speeches, so yeah, that's just A.
Yeah. Anything else before we move to the close this part one?
Oh.
Okay, so Gaius has exited. I suppose it's probably Gaius, isn't it? But I think Gaius is.
Gaius would be more correct Latin, I think.
Yeah, I think it is. Anyway, he's exited, and at which point B puts his head back round the curtain and just goes, "Is it safe? Is the coast clear?" A goes with Gaius as well. So actually, they exit, and then B comes out, and then A is going to return in a moment. I see. Read the stage directions properly. Just because they're in Latin, that's no excuse. God's sake, I know what et is.
Okay. God's body, sirs, this was a fit. I'd beshrew the horse heart yet when I think thereon, and yet the strokes be not so sore, but the shame grieveth me more, sith that it was done before so many as here be present. But and I might take her by my troth, that I shall make her this deed to repent.
And enter A.
Thou wouldst good hold thy peace, for there is no remedy doubtless, therefore let it go. It is to us both great folly and shame this matter any more to rehearse or name.
Well then, be it so, and yet because she hath made me smart, I trust once to ride in her cart, be it shame or no. I cannot suffer it patiently to be rebuked openly and to be mocked also. And another thing grieveth me worst of all. I shall be shent, that I shall, of my master too, because I have been so long away out of his presence.
Nay, I have heard so much sith I went hence, that he had little mind to thine offence.
I pray you tell me why.
Right. For as I brought my master on his way, I heard one of Lucrece's men say that thy master hath been all at this hour at a place, and that she is his answer, and that he his answer has, this wise as I mean, she hath appointed him to be here soon in the evening about supper, and then he shall have a final answer what she intendeth to do. And so then we shall know her intent, for as I understand, she will be content to have one of them too. But first she will needs know the certain, whether is the most noble of them twain. This she saith away.
Why, that is easy to understand, if she be so wise as men bear in hand.
Yea, so I heard you say. Let me see now, what is your opinion, whether of them is most noble of condition?
That can I tell you heartily, that he that hath most nobles in store, him I call the most noble evermore, for he is most set by, and I am sure Cornelius is able with his own goods to buy a rabble of such Gaiuses. And over that, if nobleness of kin may this woman's favor win, I am sure he cannot miss.
Yea, but comes hither soon to the end of this play, and thou shalt see whereto all that will weigh. It shall be for thy learning.
Yea, come again, who will for me, for I will not be here, so mote I thee. It is a gentlemanly thing that I should await and come again for other men's causes and take such pain. I will not do it. I make God avow, why might this not matter? Why might not this matter be ended now?
Marry, I shall tell you thee why. Lucrece and her father may not attend at this season to make an end, so I heard them say. And also it is a courteous guise for to respite the matter this wise, that the parties may in the meantime advise them well, for either of them both must tell and show the best he can to force the goodness of his own condition, both by example and good reason. I would not for a swan that thou shouldst be hence at that season, for thou shalt hear a royal disputation betwixt them, or they have due. And other thing must be considered withal. These folk that sit here in the hall may not attend thereto. We may not, with our long play, let them from their dinner all day, that they have not fully dined, for in this play where once overpast, some of them would fall to feeding as fast as they had been almost pined. But no force hardly, and they do. Usher, get them good wine there too, fill them of the best, let it be do, or ye will be shent, for it is the will and commandment of the master of the feast. And therefore we shall the matter forbear and make a point even here, lest we exceed a measure, and we shall do our labour in true intent for to play the remnant at my lord's pleasure.
Or wine, please.
Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking that almost felt like part of a prologue then, because it was the I love the length. Just like a play this long, about long play, sorry, not, and there was a line further up which I just thought, yeah, this could almost be a prologue.
Well,
It doesn't make you want to come back for part two, I have to say.
Well, what it is a teaser. What I really like is B says, so, you're saying, oh, there's going to be a debate, that's going to happen, find out who's the most noble. She needs to know that before she can make a decision. And that's going to happen later. And B's just going, why can't it happen now? I want it to happen
Are we there
now."
yet?
They haven't had their dessert.
Yeah, it's literally that. We haven't had... Everybody's hungry. Look at him. Look at him.
The audience. I mean, this would you then? Yeah, of course, the audience. The sort of pointing at the audience and saying, as you say, look at him. Yes, and we could. What do you call it? Extemporize upon that. Rob, I don't know if it's me, but I really felt like it was written that becomes faster and faster. There was a real sense of he's just spilling stuff out, almost.
Yeah, it's the rhyme, I think, and sort of the shortness of the lines also.
Very sort of a breath, and another breath, and then he goes into that bit about the play. Great speeches, love them.
Yeah, they're really good, and it's this. I would not for a swan. Keep them from this thing. We just can't keep them from dinner any longer, and like Usher, get the good wine.
I might change that if it was a theatre. I'd probably say you can't keep them from their ice cream and wine.
Yeah, we discussed this the other day. I don't think we could do this in a theatre. I think we would have to do this as an event with food and tables, and maybe in a cabaret setting.
Dinner and a show.
That might work.
Well, it feels like one of those not forced entertainment. Les Enfants Terribles shows in London. I was trying to think what the name was then, but yeah, I can feel a very set, a nice meal. Then throw hell at them.
Yeah, because you need to be able to break that convention of you're all gathered for food in somebody's house kind of thing, and you need to set that up. And I think in a formal theatre setting, it just won't work, because it is so dependent on basically just stepping out and going, Well, there's this because you are commenting on the play. Why can't we have that bit of the play now? Why can't we have the bit we were all waiting? They've been talking about this debate for half an hour.
Is that the first time that is that apart from the start, is that the first time the play comes back to the setting, if that makes sense, of the dinner, the hall?
No, it's basically every time A and B talk by themselves. That's where they are. There's a wafer thin conceit that there's a play going on.
Yeah, it starts off with like sort of A going, "Oh, I heard there's gonna be a play," and B goes, "Oh yeah, and now shut up and let's watch it." And then like at some point, when the action starts, there's a small pause and they jump back in, going, "Oh, I can do that part. I mean, I can be Lucrece's like courtier or servant or whatever," and
One says you can't do that. You'll destroy the play.
Yes.
And I'm not inciting a duck here. Does feel a little Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is the earliest. I think. I don't think there's anything particularly in the your pucker medieval stuff that is as meta as this. As flamboyantly meta. That doesn't mean there aren't other plays that were meta, and certainly there's a lot of medieval stuff you feel could be a lot more meta. People are very aware of the setting. Prologues and epilogues are playing similar games, just not as far as this does, because prologues are licensed to do that because they go out and prologue and talk to the audience and say shut up, and if you don't shut up, we'll kill you. We'll hang you from that tree over there if you don't switch off your mobile phones, and other such business. So, I that's the thing is, it would be lovely to be able to compare this with more texts and get a genuine sense of how it fits in or doesn't fit in with the other stuff that we have. And find out how that functions. I'm just figuring out. I'm just actually going to. Yes, so we will be going on to the very opening of the second part. We're just going to do a couple of scenettes. So imagine, dinner. The dessert's been lovely. You've enjoyed your banquet. Or for that matter, a whole day's passed, and you're here on it for part two because you enjoyed part one so much. Everyone's been talking about it, and A opens the second half.
Much good to you, everyone. You will not believe how fast I have gone for fear that I should come too late. No force, I have but lost a little sweat that I have taken upon this heat, my cold courage to abate. But now to the matter that I am come for. You know the cause thereof before, your wits be not so short. Per day, my fellows, and I were here today when ye were at dinner, and showed you a little disport of one Fulgens and his daughter Lucrece, and of two men that made great business, their husband for to be. She answered to them both that, look, which was the more noble man, to him she would agree this was the substance of the play, keep with it, that were showed here today, albeit that there was divers toys mingled in the same, to stir folk to mirth and game, and to do them solace, to the which trifles be impertinent to the matter principal, but nevertheless they be expedient for to satisfy and content many a man withal. For some there be that looks and gapes for some there be that looks and gapes only for some such trifles and japes, and some there be among that forceth little of such madness, but delighteth them in matter of sadness, but yet never so long. And every man must have his mind, unless they will many faults find, and say the play was naught. But no force, I care not, let them say and spare not, for God knoweth my thought. It is the mind intent It is the mind and intent of me and my company to content the least that standeth here, and so I trust he will it allow. By God's mercy, where am I now? Oh, where am I now? Oh, it were alms to wring me by the ear, because I make such digression from the matter that I began when I entered the hall. For had I made a good continuance, I should have put you in remembrance and to your mind's call, how Lucrece will come hither again, and her lover and her said lovers both twain, to define this question, whether of them is the more noble man. For therein all this matter began. It is the chief foundation of all this process, both ill and some. And if these players were on once come of this matter, will they speak? I marvel greatly in my mind that they tarry so long behind their hour for to break. But what, sirs? I pray you, every one have patience, for they come anon. I am sure that they will not fail, but they will meet in this place as their promise and appointment was. Oh, and else I hear marvel. Oh, let me see now. What now is o'clock?
And I'm just going to pause us there because there's so much to unpack in that speech, isn't it great? Previously on Fulgens and Lucres.
Pretty much.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist the addition.
No, absolutely. It's really, you know, the keep up, you know, thing is absolutely. You were here earlier. You know. I'm just sort of obliged. And the thing is, we didn't get this. Well, we sort of got this in the first half. The prologue was sort of hidden in dialogue, whereas here, you know, now you're part of the play, you can just do the sort of second half prologue, and there's just I love that, you know, some people just like happy things, some like sad things. What are we gonna do? And then you've gone on this digression, and then you go, oh, now where was I? No, you've made me lose my place now.
I never read the speech. I literally read that cold, and I was just going, this is glorious." And I'm not sure if that was that the act. I don't know if that was this kind of cue because the actors were late, but it felt like it.
No, I think that's the gag. It's absolutely you're left on stage, and they're not coming on. Yeah, I think, and there could be more of that, and you going there because, you know, you're constantly talking about, you know, you end on, you know, what is o'clock, you know. You know what time it is?
Oh, it's glorious. Oh.
Where is everyone?
I'm corpsing. Not corpsing. I'm folding here.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I thought that was absolutely fab. I mean, it's just there's so much potential, and they still managed to get the plot in. You know, just to remind everyone of the plot, the wafer thin plot that we have for this play.
They already did like the sort of like at the beginning it was like, oh, so what's this play cool play about, and then they did like a long speech about like what the play's about, and it's like, oh yeah, but that can't possibly be the ending, and then that's how they launch into the play, because, you know, the ending can't possibly be the way they want.
Also, I love the fact that at the start it seems like he's rushed on. And he's kind of done that whole speech, and then literally he's gone from one extreme to the other because he's now trying to wait for the cricket match to end in the green room or whatever it be.
Be like a chicken leg, you know, like a bone sticking out. Like, oh yeah, I've not had time to eat. Yeah.
I'm starving, or I haven't even had a chance to eat. In fact.
Yeah, it's interesting actually the way that opening could function, about precisely how that opening line works as well. You know, it's whether that could be played out to everyone, or whether that's into the wing. You know, before it goes on, there's so many options here, and there are lots of textual questions as well to be thrown in. Any additional thoughts on that speech before we move forward? No. Okay, so you're waiting. Why are we waiting? And then there's
Here cometh one. I hear him knock. He knocketh as he were wood. One of you go look who it is. You!
Yes, again, send someone from the audience to do it. It's like, because it's, the players are coming from over there, so who's knocking at the door? The doors are supposed to be locked at this time. What's going on?
Yeah.
Anyway, enter B.
Nay, nay, many of them I wist cannot so much good. A man may rap until his nails ache, or any of them will the labour take to give him an answer.
I have great marvel on thee that ever thou wilt take upon thee to chide any man here. No man is so much to blame as thou for long tarrying.
Yea, God avow, will you play me that? Marry, that shall be amended anon. I am late coming, and soon will be gone, else I shrew my cat. Cock's body, sir, 'tis a fair reason I come hither at this season, only at thy bidding, and thou makest me quarrel, as though all the matter were imperilled by my long tarrying. How God be with you, so mote I thee, you shall play the knave alone for me.
And B makes to go.
I am afraid it was ye are but lewd. Turn again, all be shrewd. Now are you fair prayed?
Why then is your angler all due?
Yea, marry is it? Lo.
So is mine too, I have done clean. But now, how goeth this matter forth of this marriage?
Oh, but I say, James, right not worth I wot near what they mean, for I can none otherwise think, but that some of them begin to shrink because of their long tarriage.
Shrink now, quoddy. Marry, that were marvel. But one thing of surety I can thee tell is touching this marriage. Cornelius, my master, appointeth him thereupon, and doubtless he will be here anon in pain of fort offence, in so much that he hath devised certain strangers freshly disguised at his own expense for to be here this night also.
Strangers, quodda. More? What to do?
Marry, for to glade with all this gentlewoman at her hither coming.
Oh, then I see we shall have a mumming.
Yea, surely that we shall, and therefore never think it in thy mind that my master will be behind, nor slack at this bargain. Marry, here he cometh. I've him espied. No more words. Stand thou aside, for it is he plain.
We'll just briefly pause there. We have a mention of a mumming, that we're going to have people in disguise and dare to do some dancing and whatever, and sort of being set up. I don't know whether that's something that's particularly pertinent to the plot, or they're just setting up that there's going to be some dancing at the end of the show. I
like the fact that it almost feels like A is complaining there's more people coming.
Yeah.
As in actors. It's like, you're already late. Come on. I can't have any more people to heard about the stage. Get out.
But there's also like a callback to the first part, the beginning of the first part, where no more words, stand aside. Like sort of there was this part in the beginning where they're basically clearing space, as far as I remember, to sort of get people to sit down and stand aside.
Yeah, it's yeah, their function would be is in part crowd control. Yes, especially in a space that's going to be very crowded. So if we have a mumming, we're going to have intruders in masks. They're going to do some dancing for you. They may play games. Of course, the games will be rigged so that you lose, so that you have to pay the money. And that's sort of how mumming is obviously. It's always about fundraising. It's always about collecting money from the household. The closest thing we have today to something similar would be carol singing. That's about it. We just don't have this as a tradition anymore, because we just would call the police, broadly speaking. Maybe I wouldn't even go with trick or treat as being particularly connected, but maybe there is a ghost of a remnant of these things. But yeah, we just don't have anything like mumming anymore in real terms. Any other thoughts? We've got a mini scene coming up now. Before we stop for the evening. No. Okay, so it's me again. A goes out, and Cornelius enters in a costume of a gallant. My friend, whereabout goest thou all day?
Marry, sir, I came hither to essay whether these folk had been here, and yet they be not come, so help me God and Halidom. Of that I have much marvel that they tarry so.
Marry, go thy way, and wit where they will or no.
Yea, God avow, shall I so.
Yea, marry, so I say.
Yet in that point seemeth me, and yet ye do not according to your decree.
I pray thee, tell me why.
Harry, it would become them well now to be here afore and to wait upon you, and not you to tarry for their leisure and abide them here as it were one that were led by the ear. For that I defy. By this means you should be their drudge. I tell you troth, I. And yet the worst that grieveth me is that your adversary should in you see so notable a folly, therefore withdraw you for a season.
By St. John, thou sayest but reason.
Yea, do so heartily, and when the time draweth upon that they become everyone and all thing ready, then I shall come straight away to seek you without delay.
Be it so heartily, but one thing, while I think thereon, remember this when I am gone. If it happen so that Lucrece come in first alone, go in hand with her anon, howsoever thou do, for to feel her mind toward me, and by all means possible to be, induce her thereunto.
Then some token you must give me, for else she will not believe me that I came from you.
Ah, marry, that is even wisely spoken. Commend me to her by the same token. She knoweth it well enow that as she and I walked once together in her garden thither and thither, there happened a strange case. For at the last we did see a bird sitting on a hollow tree. An ash, I trow it was. Anon she prayed me for to essay if I could start the bird away.
And did ye so? Alas, alas.
Why, the devil sayest thou so?
By cock's bones, for it was a cuckoo. And men say among he that throweth stone or stick at such a bird, he's like to sing that bird's song.
Oh, what the devil reck I therefore? Hear what I say to thee evermore, and mark thine errand well. Sir, I had no stone to throw withal, and therefore she took me her musk ball, and thus it befell. I kissed it as straight as any pole, so that it lighted even in the hole of the hollow ash. Now, canst thou remember all this?
By God, I would be loath to do amiss, for sometime I am full rash. You say that you kissed it even in the hole of the hollow ash as straight as a pole. Said ye not so?
Yes.
Well, then let me alone. As for this errand, it shall be done as soon as ye be go.
Farewell then, I leave thee here, and remember well all this gear, howsoever thou do. And exit Cornelius. And we will pause there. So Cornelius enters in the costume of a gallant. We've had mention earlier of the ridiculous costume that he probably has bought himself to make himself attractive to his love. He's rich. He's probably old. It's probably just ridiculously inappropriate, and they can probably also use the silly costume they used for nature as well. It is the same gag that we were exploring this afternoon, of which nothing is said about.
Yeah.
But it's set up that he should be utterly ridiculous and comedy. And then he has this thing of, B saying, well, how will she know anything comes from me? Some token. I think he's hoping for money or a rich, something.
A ring or something.
A ring, something that he could pawn on the way out. If he could fence it, that would go well. And then he tells this stupid story. It's just, You know, I saw a bird and I scared it away with her perfume ball, which fell exactly into a hole in the ash tree. I'm not sure why I should be pleased by that story, because there's no mention of whether the bird actually flew away at this action, just that he got a hole in one.
Hey.
And presumably therefore lost her perfume ball. So I'm not sure how this story comes out well.
Yeah.
You know, charming anecdote. And of course, he's asked you to make sure you get it right. So now, who wants to lay bets now
It comes out utterly wrong.
that it
Yes.
comes out right? I suspect not.
I suspect certain words will come, it will be reversed.
10 things not to say in an Elizabethan, sorry, in an early Tudor play. Repeat after me.
Yes, we've had a few of those, haven't we? Actually, of people who just can't remember basic instructions. I mean, it's not quite ignorance level.
No.
Being taught his own name.
Oh, that was beautiful.
That was so problematic and yet so funny. It was
the more fun to play.
The amount of really solid comic material here. The thing is, we've been reading in the afternoon. We've been reading Medwall's other play, Nature. We only have two. But for 1490, having two, and we know it's by the same author, and we know who he is, and we have a biography of his life. This is
miraculous.
Miraculous. We've got. I don't think we got an author before. I don't think we've got an earlier one who we have a name for. So well done. He was a lawyer.
I wouldn't have guessed it from the play actually, because it's so stupid.
It really does ring all the changes, and say comparing it with Nature, which is a morality play, which is very well written. I mean, I think the dialogue is and the thing. I mean, it's a morality play, so you have to put it through that lens. You've got to like morality plays. But you've done so many of them, Greg. I'm disappointed you've missed out on this. That was almost our last morality play. We've almost got.
Oh, don't shush. I will miss them. It was interesting. I was thinking earlier until you said what you said about prologue being inherent in the first part of this. I was thinking I could just imagine that one we did in the fragments.
Yeah.
Drink the beer. Now make sure you buy beer.
Yeah.
You could adapt it to fit this play, but yeah.
There's just there's nothing here where you go, oh, that we don't need that bit.
No, every line is perfectly thought out.
Yeah. We've got to make them land, but that's just work. That's just that's our job.
Yeah, and now when you said about not getting your words muddled up, so to speak, because I was getting my mucking words fuddled all the way through, I've started really trying to concentrate on making sure the words speak as they appear, and I see what you mean. Because actually they're funnier if you put the words where they're supposed to be, not.
Yeah, and as the script tightens up, and just in textual terms, because there's lots of, it was a rush job, but it's it's just the potential for what you do with that. A and B are rightly well known as being very, very good parts, just being fundamentally brilliant. But actually, I like the actual plot of the play itself. I think there's some lovely bits in that. They're very brief. They're actually too short, I think. If there's anything wrong with this play, it's actually too short. It's not often I get to say that.
No, it's not. Too often it's too wordy. I love this. Beautiful.
And the text moves really quickly. I mean, that's the thing is that the word count. It probably overall runs at maybe 2 hours. We're doing this over 3 sessions. We could probably have squeezed it into 2. But it's still. I think it may even be shorter than that. The way it runs, because the dialogue does not hang around most of the time. It's witty badinage which it doesn't matter if some lines don't fully land with some of the banter and the back and forth. I think in terms of the audience comprehension, our modern ear tuning into it, I think with some of the back and forth with Lucilla, some of that will come better in performance, but some of it I don't think it matters in the same way. I think if the audience get absolutely every bit.
And I think also if you get a really confusing plot bit, not this many, you could go back over it and have some fun with the audience. Because it's the nature of the play.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, did we get that? For those asleep at the back.
Yeah, no, they repeat a lot. They repeat a lot in this play.
I'm wondering if that's because they just assume the room's going to be quite rowdy for this one, and that they have to just keep reminding them, for the drunk people at the back, what the hell's going on. Right, so we have final thoughts from the room. Eric, do you have anything? You've done both sessions, so you've got a good overview of the play so far. Anything to add apart from, isn't it great?
It is, yeah. I was just gonna ask about the cuckoo comments. Like, oh yeah, by Cock's bones, it was a cuckoo, and I'm just trying to work out what that gag was. Like, why mention it was a cuckoo in the first place?
So the gag he's trying to do, and to be fair, it's not a fully well constructed one. You have to be. It's something in the culture of the time. So a cuckold, he's made a cuckold because he's interfered with a cuckoo. So
yeah, I got that part,
and
so I wasn't sure if that was what he was trying to say. So
yeah, it's not a great gag, because it's not like he said it was a cuckoo. If he'd said it was a cuckoo, I feel it would flow more naturally. But he's forcing the joke a bit.
Mm-hmm.
On that point, he's just trying to say something funny. In the midst of Cornelius doing his thing, and I think it needs bird calls and silly sounds at that point. I think because Cornelius, I think, is supposed to be absurd. He doesn't read that way, to be fair. But
he does have that element of like, oh yeah, I get the feeling that like B was getting bored of that story, so it's like, oh yeah, it's not, this is not really a token. Come on, tell me more, get to the point, man. And so he obviously jumps in.
And he never really does, because it's not really a story. It's just a thing. But I suspect once we've got to the reverse engineering bit later on, when we find out the thing you do say, we will know why this elaborate story has been put in place, even if the story may have been retrofitted to match the punchline. That's my theory. That will either be true or false, and we'll find out tomorrow. Greg, any final thoughts?
Yes. If I was an actor, I would seriously consider that speech at the top of part 2 as an audition piece. Glorious. Brilliant.
Any more for any more? No.
It's fun.
We're all just in a happy place.
Come back for part 3.
Yeah, more to come. When we will be rejoined by Liza, and we will all the Avengers will assemble for a final thrilling conclusion.
Dance merrily on the bones of our enemies. Or wait, no, that's a wrong one. Yeah.
When we will reach the thrilling conclusion when the contest will be had. And we'll find out where we are then. All that remains is to thank these wonderful readers for joining me this evening. It's been fun. I've been very confused by the footnotes, and we'll figure out how that game is played, that contest, some other time, I'm sure. All that remains is to say goodbye.
Bye.